And here we have an iPad motherboard that was mailed in for a charging port replacement. This is model number A1893. And what did the customer write here? Let's check. I was checking to see if I sent you my logic board, could you solder a new charging port on? I have the replacement part with it. When I read a note like this, I know there's something going on. Can you solder a new port on? Why can't we solder it unless there's something going on with the board? Prior repair attempt. There's a disaster here. A huge Hiroshima bomb on the side of the board. Look at this. Look at this mess. And I always say, and I will keep saying it, why do people do this? This may or may not be fixable. I do not know. We have about 6 million missing pads on this charging area part of the board. I'm going to start by cleaning the board. Sometimes when I see things like this, I start talking to myself. Should I do this repair? Should I waste time working on this repair? Or should I just send it back to the customer? I don't know. Honestly, there's no right or wrong answer. We can fix and run the jumper wires. We can solder the charging port. We test and maybe it doesn't work. So I have to redo the job. I do not know if we're going to be able to fix this from the first try or if it's going to take more than one try to get it done. But right now, I see something here. I see something right here. Is this Flux? Yeah, that's nothing. That's one tiny trace. We want to decide which pad is important and which one is not. This is the same as this, the same as this, the same as this, so we do not need to run a wire here. We do not need to run a wire here. No need to run a wire here. And if we test with our meter, let's put it in continuity mode. And let's test from here to right here. And all of them are the same. So that's good. We do not need to run any wires here. This one is a ground pin we do not need to run. This one is a ground pin. We do not need to run any wires there. Okay, so this is the same as this, the same as this, the same as this. All of them are sharing the same pad. Now we do need to run the wire here. This is an important pad. It has its own separate line, so we need to scratch it and create a jumper wire. I mean, look at the tip of this razor and look at the size of this trace. This we do not need because this is a ground pin. This should be the same as this, same as this, same as this, same as this. Let's go ahead and test. From here to right here, yes. So no need to run any wires here. So maybe it's not so bad. Maybe it's not so bad. We should be able to get it done. Let's put some flux and we're gonna apply solder on all those pads and the traces that we scratched. I want everything to have solder on it. I mean, the trace is less than 0.1 millimeter in size. One person left a comment and he was saying you should not use a blade to scratch off the mask from the pads. You should use a fiberglass pen. There is no fiberglass pen in the world that will be able to scratch a 0.05 millimeter trace. Some people leave comments just to confuse others. Very nice. Now we're going to use our precision blade to clip this wire, and let's clip it from right over here. Done. Let's do this one here. The gauge of this wire is 0.1 millimeter, and look at the trace. The wire is about twice the size of that trace. And now we're going to clip the wire from within the pad itself. That's a safer way of doing it. So just like this from here. We need this one right here. And let's cut that wire. These two we do not need to do. This one we do not need to do. We do not need to do. This is good. This one we do not need to do. This one is done. Oh, good. So how many wires did we run? 1, 2, 3. 3 wires. What I'm going to do is apply solder mask onto those wires to hold them in place. And what else do we have? We only have one more, which is right over here. Okay, I do not want the solder mask to be thick, because it's going to take longer to heal when we apply UV light, so just thin it out. Clean the blade, clean the tweezer from that mask, and we're going to grab our UV light. So I'm going to apply UV light for about maybe a minute or two, just to be on the safe side. I want the mask to harden. Okay. Now one last thing I want to do is tin those wires, because the wires are not going to make a good connection with the pads on the Flux cable if they are not tinned. And just like that. Very good. And you see how the mask is holding that wire in place, so it doesn't let loose. The customer supplied us with the Flux cable. And just look at the Flux cable the customer mailed over. One of the connectors is missing. We're going to have to use our Flux cable. We cannot use the customer's. gonna add more solder onto the tip. I'm pressing down so there is no room for the wire to move out of place. And I'm doing every pad individually to ensure that solder is making its way through the hole and down to the pad or wire. Okay, the job is done, and there's no way that this is not going to work. We're gonna test using a TriStar tester. Customer only mailed in the board, but the TriStar tester will tell us if that charging port is soldered on correctly or not. If the Flux cable cannot make a connection with the board, then it's gonna show us a fail. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna go ahead and turn it on. Maybe I'll put it under the microscope. Just being careful. It shows connected. The device shows connected, which means the Flux cable is making a good connection with the board. Otherwise, if some of the major lines were not making a good connection with the board, then we would not see the message connected. Let's go ahead and test. Testing. So far so good. And pass. We did it. We did it. It's a pass. Awesome. Awesome. First impression, I thought we're gonna have to run more than 3 wires, but we went over the pads. We decided where to run the wires and where not to run the wires. We ran 3 jumper wires. Without the precision tools, it would have been impossible to get this job done. I'm glad we were able to get it fixed. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any questions, and we'll do something else in the next video. I'm gonna clean up before we mail it to the customer.